Off the top here at 4 o'clock, I want to get you to some breaking news right now where Garland police are following a pickup truck driver that will not pull over. A chase is underway. We understand that this began in Garland. This was the result of a traffic stop in Garland. Again, that driver refusing to pull over. They are now heading north on the George Bush Turnpike into Rowlett. And as you can see, it's that pickup truck that you see there on your screen, that gray one with several police units giving chase behind it. This is a live view right now from Chopper 11. We have Lieutenant Pedro Barano from the Garland Police Department standing by on the phone. Lieutenant, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, sir, if you can bring us up to speed on what we're seeing here. What's the latest on this chase?
So we don't have all the specific details regarding this pursuit. However, it just started recently. I think we were asked to provide assistance in stopping a vehicle from another agency, and when we attempted to conduct a traffic stop, the vehicle did not stop, and they are leading us in a pursuit. It seems as if they are driving pretty well. They're not driving at super high speeds, and because we do have the assistance of the police helicopter, we are actually maintaining some space between the vehicle.
You speak of the helicopter. We just got Chopper 11 over the scene here, so these images are just coming into our newsroom, Lieutenant. But how long has this been going on for now? Do you know what time that initial stop was initiated?
I don't have the exact time. I think it was about perhaps 15, within the last 30 minutes. I'm not quite sure exactly what time, but I think within the last 30 minutes, approximately.
Okay, and as far as, and again, we're watching this live happen right now. You spoke about the driver not necessarily driving too fast or too erratically, but have there been any kind of dangerous situations that have already happened as a result of this?
Not to my knowledge. You know, once again, this is a circumstance that, we approach with extreme caution. We are provided information to perform a traffic stop. We assist our surrounding agencies, and when we attempt to stop the vehicle, it led us in this pursuit. And so we look at all the circumstances when we are pursuing a vehicle. Obviously, you know, the dangers presented to the public, what kind of offense that is involved. And so we're relying a lot on the information that we're receiving from the other agency at this time.
And Lieutenant, just to make sure here, are you all the lead agency on this, or is this going to go into Rowlett's hands next here? Are you all responsible for this?
So we are actively pursuing the vehicle at this time, and just depending on what agencies are involved could lead us to determine who will take over. But once again, because we are actively pursuing the vehicle, and of course at the request of another agency, we're basically taking it minute by minute. And so we may be in this pursuit. Yes. Oh,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was going to back up into another question here. The reason I was asking you about jurisdiction here is because I want, different police departments have different policies for chases, and we see that he's speeding up now, by the way. Give us an idea of potentially what resources, what tools, or what maneuvers you all can do to bring this to an end if, in fact, Garland PD is to finish this out.
Well, obviously, we would hope that the driver would eventually pull over, knowing that they're being pursued by the police on the road, as well as seeing helicopters overhead. However, we do utilize other resources. We do have stop sticks. Most other agencies have that, and we can communicate with them ahead of time so they can set up in front of the vehicle, hoping to disable the vehicle. And if we can end the pursuit in that manner, we would most certainly bring that on with joy. But once again, everything evolves in a very quick fashion, so it's very hard to determine exactly what can be used. Everything's based upon the total circumstances, the information we're receiving from the agency that provided us with the initial information, as well as what the driver is doing. So our officers who are pursuing, they will pursue them based on the safety and, of course, trying to get this person off the street as quickly as possible without any kind of undue harm to anybody.
Lieutenant, we're going to keep you on here a little bit longer if you don't mind. We did see a couple of units, Garland PD units, speed up ahead of the pickup truck. I'm assuming they're, like you said, trying to position themselves a little bit ahead so that they have an opportunity to maybe deploy some stop sticks, perhaps, or some other kind of a tool, maybe?
It's possible. I'm not actively listening to the radio, but we do communicate with not only our officers in our city, but if we are approaching other cities or going into other jurisdictions, we have the ability to communicate with them via the radio. So if we have an opportunity to disable the vehicle utilizing stop sticks, and sometimes that means getting ahead of the vehicle and setting up those specific obstacles for this driver, then we will do so. And so once again, because it's so active, and there's a lot of unknowns at this point in time. It's very hard to determine what is exactly occurring at this moment.
And we understand that this is now approaching 75 as well, so that's something to keep in mind. This is sort of moving from one area jurisdictions relatively quickly here. Lieutenant, did you let's talk about the ability, if you can, to do a pit maneuver. Is that something that your officers could consider in a case like this?
It all depends on the totality of the circumstances. So we do not perform pit maneuvers on every pursuit that we are involved in. We have to look at every single circumstance based on the information that we received at the time, as well as what we know of the driver. So that is something that will be determined based on the information that the officers have at the time that it is utilized.
And you said at this point we don't know too much about the driver, correct?
To my knowledge, no. I mean, there may be some more information in regards to the investigation that is being relayed continually to the officers, but as of right now, the information I have is very limited, and I just know that, you know, our ultimate goal here is to keep our community as safe as possible, and if we can get this person up the street safely, that is our goal.
The chase is now, by the way, folks who are following along here live with Chopper 11, it is heading north on 75 right now, and it does look, Lieutenant Barano, not sure if you're in front of a TV and watching along with us, but it looks like that pickup truck is now entering some heavier traffic from what we saw just a couple of minutes ago. I am curious as to how communication works when several agencies are involved in an active chase like this. How are they communicating real-time information to each other on the ground, sir?
So we have a radio communication system that actually bleeds over into other agencies, and so it's called basically it's an all-encompassing radio channel that our officers can actually change in their vehicles or on their handheld radios and communicate, and everyone can go to that one channel in the other jurisdictions. And so by utilizing this, we can call ahead to if we're approaching a city that is just outside the jurisdiction in which we're currently pursuing, we can notify them to hopefully set up some sort of a location to where stop sticks could be utilized and things to that effect. So, but the main communication, basically the way the radio systems are set up is that we can actually have all officers who are involved in this specific incident go to one radio channel so they can communicate.
Clearly, you know, situations like this, Lieutenant, we don't know exactly how they'll end or, you know, what happens next. As you mentioned a little bit ago, you know, things happen very quickly. Clearly does pose a danger to the greater public. So this is a great opportunity right now if you wanted to speak to motorists or people, you know, who may be headed out in this area or know people who are driving through. I mean, what should motorists be doing right now when they see something like this coming up behind them in their rearview mirror?
Absolutely, and you guys are an excellent source of communication to the public. And ultimately, I mean, if anyone's watching the news, we ask them to stay out of the area. Do not attempt to go to the location where the pursuit is occurring. Stay completely out of the way. We don't know all the details regarding this driver. And if you're on the roadway, people may be listening to the radio station or anything to that effect. And if you see police cars coming and another vehicle traveling the highway speed, move out of the way completely. Just slow down and get out of the way. That way you eliminate yourself from any potential danger at the time that the pursuit passes by.
You know, here in the Metroplex, Lieutenant, we have seen these types of chases take place in residential neighborhoods. We have seen them on the highways. Is there any kind of particular advantage that police have when something like this takes place on the highway as opposed to neighborhood streets where maybe there are children or cars parked? Is this a better scenario?
Well, any scenario is dangerous, you know, because you never know what's going on through the mind of the driver that is being pursued. And so an open highway is a better circumstance due to the fact that there's not really much of a risk of a child running across the street. But as you mentioned, the residential area is the example. However, you know, when we pursue any kind of vehicle, we utilize all the information that we have, and we take all the circumstances, information from the vehicle information that we have, or as well as if we know who the driver is. We take that all into consideration, and ultimately our goal is to end this as safely as possible. And so that could mean terminating the pursuit based on what they find at a moment notice. But at the same time, though, depending on the totality of the circumstances, they may, I guess, do something different to stop the pursuit quicker.
Yeah, we're watching.
So,
we're watching the images here, Lieutenant, as you mentioned, you know, for folks who are driving out there, many of them maybe not knowing what is coming up behind them, so it's kind of a scary situation when they see this come up beside them. Of course, we're approaching rush hour time. We're already in it, quite frankly, especially in this part of town. How much longer do you think something like this could potentially last? I mean, is there a certain time frame or a certain threshold that you all look for that you say, okay, it's time to end this. He's really not stopping. Time to do a pit maneuver or put the sticks out. Is that how that works at all?
Well, every case, unfortunately, is case by case, because you cannot duplicate one situation to match exactly to another. So it all depends on the overall circumstances, and it goes back to the whole knowing what you of what is occurring and of the driver and the circumstances at the time. And so, once again, I don't know all the circumstances. Obviously, if this person is armed, he's a kidnapping suspect, which we don't know. If he's one of those aggravated type of suspects, it can go on for a super long time. And that's just based upon that knowledge. As of right now, we're relying on a lot of the information that we have on another agency who requested our assistance in this. And so we're going to basically take it as we receive it and hopefully end this sooner than later.
How many agencies are involved at this point? Do you know by chance, sir?
I don't know. You probably know better than I do based on the camera that you have, because I'm not able to listen to the radio at the same time. Okay,
and again, the chase now northbound 75 at Bethany. If you're familiar with the area, this is where this chase is heading into now. So now, Lieutenant Barano, it appears that your units are following this person into Plano, in the Plano area. So again, this is information that we're all kind of watching. We're seeing this happen in real time.
Okay.
And I wonder now if this is something where Plano gets involved as well.
It's very possible. Like I said, once again, depending on the circumstances and also depending on the number of units that are in there. So, but I mean, if we need the assistance of Plano Police Department, they will be requested to assist. At the very least, we'll probably ask them to actually assist with the providing stop sticks.
Sure.
So, but I do have to go. I have to take a few more calls here.
We understand.
So, but we will definitely keep you guys updated, and hopefully we'll resolve this chase sooner than later.
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Barano, thank you very much for your time and for your insight. We appreciate you taking our questions and bringing us up to speed. But once again, folks, if you are joining us here at this hour, 4:12 on this Thursday, you are watching a live police chase happening right now on northbound 75. This is a chase that began in Garland as some sort of a traffic stop, we're being told. The driver of that gray pickup that you see right there obviously refusing to stop. That chase then left Garland into Rowlett, hit the highways, and at this point they are approaching Allen. We do understand that there are several police agencies that have been involved, namely Garland Police Department, as we just heard from Lieutenant Barano, the spokesperson for the Garland Police Department. We have seen Texas DPS out there as well. And again, right now, this chase cutting through Plano, and it's my understanding that Allen will be the next jurisdiction up as the driver continues to head up north 75. And again, right now what we're seeing is a couple of Garland police units giving chase. We just heard from Lieutenant Barano that this could play out in many different ways, depending on the situation, depending on the traffic, depending on, quite frankly, a long list of different things that can happen out there. There could be stop sticks that could be used at some point, possibly even a pit maneuver. But again, the chase now officially, as you can see here, along with Chopper 11, has crossed into Allen. So this is heading north of town here, northbound US 75 once again. If you're familiar with the area, folks, know anybody who's traveling in that area, you might want to go ahead and give them a heads up right now, send them a text message, or if you're watching from work, thinking about hitting the streets or hitting roads and headed home soon here, obviously this is rush hour traffic, and this is something that's probably going to get in your way and interrupt your commute home if you happen to travel in these areas. We've been watching this pickup truck. At different times it slows down, other times it picks up, and right now what we're seeing is that it is speeding ahead right now. We heard Lieutenant Barano say that, again, this was a suspect that did not stop for them. They were asked by a neighboring police department to assist in stopping this suspect, this person, who obviously did not do that. But we don't know any information about that suspect or who else might possibly be inside of that pickup truck as well. But again, 75, Allen, and we are keeping a real close eye from Chopper 11 high above. Keeping our distance as well. We understand there's a police chopper there also joining in on the chase. Doug Dunbar is joining us here in studio as well. Did you happen to get any new details?
Nothing new to add at the current moment, Ken, but I thought your question and interaction with the officer earlier talking about there's no safe place for a chase. There's no good place for a chase. Right. But I'm going to be honest with you. Looking at this, we've got a wide open freeway, right? Not a ton of people. It's not bumper to bumper, which could turn dangerous because you get somebody like this who's desperate in a corner and things can get really bad really quick. So at the moment, they're just cruising along with them, obviously. Speed's increasing a little bit, but nothing crazy when you look at it. But grateful that it's not in an area neighborhood. Listen, summertime for a lot of kids already. A lot of kids are out of school already. Yep. So kind of grateful as to where it's happening right now. And you had just mentioned the fact that the helicopter might be on scene from the police department. So what's happening there, much like you talked about with the officer as we approach now McKinney, leaving Allen, approaching McKinney, you've got communication on the ground between the officers on a TAC channel that basically they all share. It's like when multiple departments get involved, there's a frequency that everybody goes to so we can all talk. Same thing is going on in the air right now between the police helicopter and the news helicopters, because we're there as well. We want to document what's happening, but we're going to do it from a safe distance and staying out of the way of the police department because they're in the lead on this, of course.
One of the interesting things that the police lieutenant from Garland, Doug, was talking about is, they don't know exactly the reason why this person took off. They don't know if that person is armed. They don't know if and when this does come to a halt or it slows down, what could potentially happen then, because the situation turns from, an active chase or a high-speed chase to possibly a standoff, and we have seen that time and time and again.
Yeah, listen, on the side of the police department, they have to presume that the person is armed in there. They have to presume that. They have no clue if they are, unless they do, and they haven't shared that with us, obviously. But they enter, based on all my interactions with police departments all across this country over the years, there is a presumption that it is dangerous, whether that's something in the vehicle that they're unaware of or something they are aware of. They go in presuming that, but the number one priority for every police department in a situation like this is public safety. They don't want the person driving this vehicle slamming into anybody else. They don't want this guy or woman, whoever's driving it, going through a median, taking somebody else out. That's the number one priority. The second priority that falls in line is stopping them and then putting them under arrest if need be for what's going on.
Right. This speaks to the sort of the point that a lot of people make, especially in the law enforcement community. We have heard it before. There's nothing routine about a routine traffic stop. You hear police officers say that all the time because, again, that's how this started. They thought it was just a routine traffic stop. They called in by a neighboring department saying, hey, need a little help, need a little assistance in getting this pickup truck stopped. The Garland Police Department attempted to do that, and now look at the time. We are approaching 4:20 now, getting into McKinney. And again, this started all in Garland.
And listen, we're on a sparsely populated freeway at the moment. I can tell you the farther north we head, probably the more sparsely populated it's going to be, right? We're not quite to rush hour. It's 4:20. You could argue that if you're near downtown Dallas, but not obviously way up here in McKinney on the north side of the Metroplex. So northbound 75, we have gone through Dallas, Plano, McKinney, Allen prior to McKinney, and it just continues. And I reflect on what you said a second ago, and that is, we don't know what the stop was for. We don't know why the person ran. This could be somebody who maybe has a misdemeanor. They could have a warrant. They could be somebody very dangerous. The spectrum is as wide as you can imagine for officers who are chasing right now.
And that's why, they have to take all the precautions, as you mentioned earlier, because at this point, they really don't know exactly what they're dealing with. I want to bring in Dr. Alex Del Carmen. He's also joining us on the phone here. Dr. Del Carmen, a familiar voice and a face to us here at CBS 11. He's a local criminologist who oftentimes offers us great insight when things like this happen. Dr. Del Carmen, thank you for joining us, sir. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you well. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for joining us, my friend. Wanted to ask you, we have seen, at least I have, and I don't know if it's something that happens when it starts to get a little warmer in the year, when we start approaching warmer months, but the prevalence of these types of chases, for whatever reason, I seem to notice them happening a lot more in the spring leading into the summer. From the information that you have or studying these kinds of patterns or behaviors, what do you know on that, on the prevalence of why people in the first place decide to run from police? I mean, all eyes are on them. Do they actually think they're going to get away?
It's an interesting phenomenon that's been studied somewhat, but not as much as you would think, given the prevalence of these situations throughout the country, right? But at the end of the day,
it often makes us pause and wonder why it is that people do this, because at the end of the day, they are going to be caught. This individual is likely going to end up in jail, if not hurt, gravely in some instances. And so it just makes no sense at all. He's endangering his life and the life of other people while he's doing this. But at the end of the day, oftentimes people do irrational things, right, when we expect them to act rationally.
You know, you talk about, they're going to get caught, right? I mean, again, he's got no less than 2 helicopters above him right now, live on the air. We're talking about it. Everyone's watching. He's got several police officers behind them. But Dr. Del Carmen, also, whenever this comes to an end, this person is going to have a lot more charges, right?
They're not only going to have, absolutely, and also keep in mind that as you mentioned earlier, this could have been a misdemeanor stop. It could have been something for something very, very minor. And this person is adding more and more charges as the seconds progress during the chase. So once again, it makes absolutely no sense at all. But, police officers, this really underscores the danger that they constantly face in the daily routine of their professions. This was likely just a regular motor vehicle stop, which unfortunately is going to result in something that may or may not end up in a violent act at the end. So we're hoping for the best, but police officers right now, those individuals chasing this person, don't know what they don't know about who they're following right now.
Yeah, I think what the doctor says there. Doc, hi, Doug Dunbar. Good to talk to you. I think what you just said is poignant, especially from both. You got to look at it from both sides. Obviously, that person running's running for a reason. We have no idea what it is, but we stay on the air with something like this because now, as we have gotten off the freeway, we are no longer northbound 75. By the way, to my knowledge, could be on a service road, or maybe I think we took a right. Here in the McKinney area. So now we get into the discussion of, okay, what Ken, you had talked about earlier, neighborhoods. A lot of kids are out of school, a lot of people are at home wandering around, and it takes one person maybe not paying attention, this person on the run, going by at a high rate of speed, and all of a sudden we're dealing with a whole different set of circumstances. And we certainly don't want to see something like that happen.
It looks like some kind of a service road that they're on right now, Doug, and again, to that point, this is where things start to get a little, I guess, hairier, if you will.
Can I point one thing out, though? And this is by no means giving credit to the person driving the vehicle who's evading police, but they have, thankfully, slowed down at the last 2 intersections that I saw since they got off the freeway. They keep running from police, but they have slowed down. Every chase we've covered, that is not always the case. I mean, we see horrible things happen at intersections.
Absolutely. And again, what we're seeing here now is that the person is now driving through what is a single-lane highway now. So whatever tactical advantage police had before, presumably that has changed now. So they have to kind of come up with a new game plan as to how they could potentially bring this to an end if they were, Doug, to do this now, if this is their layout now on these roads.
Well, listen, as Dr. Del Carmen said a few moments ago, and as we kind of know, signal's going a little fritzy here, so apologize for that from the helicopter. But the chase is not going to come to an end. Everybody's committed now, so this will come to some sort of resolution at some point. But the police have the big advantage, not only because they've got ground units obviously behind this person, they got a helicopter in the air. Right. They, based on where he's driving now, or she, whoever it is, they can be a mile, 2 miles out front and be given direction from the helicopter. Hey, went left or right, and tactically, they will pull this person over at some point. The hope is that it ends safely and nobody is injured. And that includes the person in the vehicle.
And that's sort of the nail-biting thing about all of this is, Doug, as we see the car sort of speed up, slow down, and pass, on the left side, the right side of other cars, vehicles that are out there, we can't ignore the fact that it's 423 out there. Anybody who knows what the roads are like in the middle of the week at this time, we're in the heart of it.
Right, blowing right through an intersection here.
That's exactly what I mean.
Well, candidly, it looks like he had a green because that left turn had a red. But we are now in a much more populated area, a lot of more vehicles on the road, at least at the intersection, as some folks are getting out this afternoon, maybe heading home, running the kids to practices, things like that.
We know this is in McKinney. Stand by, folks. One more time, Monica, please.
Eastbound 380 now.
Okay.
We're eastbound on 380, major thoroughfare in McKinney.
Yep.
If you live anywhere near or in McKinney, 380. So we're eastbound now.
And again, right now, at this point, it doesn't seem like they are going terribly fast. But again, we're just relying on the vantage point from the helicopter. Kind of hard to tell from up in the air. Yeah. But it certainly does not look like that pickup truck is driving too fast. I wonder, Doug, can you tell?
Is it leaning left?
Yeah, I'm starting to see that. So I'm wondering if maybe that truck may have already hit stop stick, perhaps?
Yeah, well, in all likelihood, that's what we end up seeing is maybe a successful deployment of stop sticks somewhere. Yeah. And stop sticks, if you've heard the term and don't really know what they're, basically just think of a piece of rubber with a bunch of nails in it.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the dumbed-down version of it.
Puncture a tire.
Yeah, and the whole objective is to blow air out of a tire, get that person to slow down. The tire will begin to unravel around the steel wheel that the tires sit on. And then, you know, when you get to that point, it's just a matter of time. And, you know, what is the end game going to be? Is this a violent person in here? Is this somebody who just got completely scared and took off, you know, which is not the right thing to do as well, as we all know. So that's kind of the end game. But I agree with you. It looks like it's leaning to the left.
It's leaning a little bit, yeah.
Thought we saw a little puff of smoke or something a little bit earlier, so maybe they did snag a tire.
380 and Airport, by the way, is the last intersection that they have just crossed right now. So once again, if you're familiar with the area, that is the area that they are just north of right now. It's wobbling a little, Doug, that pickup truck, and it looked like maybe that was a piece of rubber that just came flying off.
Probably.
But again, you know, you're seeing them, you know, driving a little slower at this point.
Yeah. So 380 and Airport, you're in somewhat of an industrial area there. Granite stone cutters are there. Lattimore Materials there. They actually just passed by a racetrack gas station. Monica, did you say eastbound or westbound? I think eastbound, correct?
Eastbound. Yeah,
so they'll transfer over to what will become officially University Drive there. 380 becomes University and heading into what is mostly an industrial area. I'm just looking at Google Maps, to be honest with you, and I'm glad to see that. It's not heading toward neighborhoods at the moment. I like that.
And again, that's a okay. Here it is, Doug. He's losing control.
Yep.
This is going to come to an end soon here.
So we can basically, with some pretty good confidence, say either the left rear tire blew out, maybe even the front one, or stop sticks got a hold of it. But either way, the tire is shredding apart.
It's coming apart. Yep.
Pieces of rubber coming out of the back, and so here's the deal: the truck will still roll on a wheel.
Yeah.
It's not going to roll efficiently
or fast.
And he's not going to get, or she's not going to get back on the highway again. We don't know male or female. We don't know the nature of what's going on. There's a huge piece of the tire that just shredded away.
Yeah.
So down to the metal now on the wheel, and again, the vehicle will still propel forward for quite some time, but not forever.
It's not going to last too much longer, I don't think. And certainly, if it does continue, you know, that vehicle, that pickup truck, will not be able to accelerate because, as you said, oh look at that.
Oh man,
looks like
Monica, confirm we're in delay for me.
The rubber there. We know that there are several police agencies that are following. They are well equipped to bring this to an end here, and my guess at this point, Doug, is going to be that this isn't going to last too much longer.
So we're going to switch to a delay. So that means something to us technically on the inside. What it means to those of you watching at home, especially if you know, kids in the room, walking through the room, something like that. If anything very ugly were to happen here at the end, our producers are seeing the picture real time. We are watching it in a slight delay, so that if something got very ugly, we're not going to put that on television. Just so you have the confidence and awareness of that, and that's why we've switched to a delay of just a couple of 3 seconds.
We don't know when the pickup truck does finally stop. That could very well lead to a standoff situation.
Yeah, so what will happen...
That can be prolonged.
Yeah, what will happen in that situation, Ken, is obviously the truck will be surrounded. Every officer will get out of his or her unit. Weapons will be drawn. I promise you that. Because, again, the assumption is there could be a dangerous person in there. That person may not have anything whatsoever, but they have to operate with the presumption. The commands will be shouted by multiple officers: get down, get down, get down. Spread eagle is usually, you know, where we see suspects like this when they get on the ground. And that, you know, if it goes according to Hoyle and the way police would love this thing to go, that's how it'll go down. All right, so the front tire is the one that's shredded.
Both of them.
The back tire is just about done as well.
Yeah, and it looks like it's really coming down to a crawl now. Let's see what happens here now, because we see a couple of police units, Doug, behind those trees or underneath the trees.
So again, keep in mind, we're playing defense at the moment, right? Okay, because some people might say, well, why don't you just take the police car and ram in it? No. We're playing defense. We want this thing to end peacefully. That's the objective of the officers involved. So they're going to proceed with caution. They're going to, again, assume they've got somebody dangerous there, even though that person may not have technically be dangerous inside the vehicle, but officers don't know that. And until that person stops and listens to the commands of officers and then exits that vehicle, they will continue to follow slowly, methodically.
This is interesting here because that pickup truck, they're off a road now. It looks like they're some kind of a
I mentioned it's
yard or something.
Yeah, it's an industrial area.
That's
so
right,
there's all
yeah.
kinds of big industrial lots right around here. There's concrete, there's granite. Now watch, here we come. Weapons in hand. Weapons are drawn. Safe position for the officers. Now the commands are coming. Roll the window down. Show me your hands. You see the hands now sticking out of the window. So to the moment, the person in the vehicle is listening to the commands and now going to exit the vehicle, and here comes the command to get on the ground.
He's got something in his hand, looks like a cell phone. Hands are up in the air.
Yep.
By the way, folks, you're about to see these images. We do have both the live and the delay up that we're watching here, Doug, in the studio. So if
commands are being given to get on the ground, some kind of, I'm not going to do that, or I don't want to do that, and that is not the way police operate in this scenario. They don't know who this guy is. They don't know what's going on, so now comes the takedown.
There it is. You're about to see the takedown live in the air here, folks. Stand by. There it is.
Apologies, I was looking at the delay in a different screen. So this, Ken, is exactly how this should go down on the police department side of things. Thank goodness nobody hurt this afternoon. Thank goodness nobody else involved in this thing. Again, no clue why this guy ran,
we will
but he did. But he did, and a successful end, and a successful, and more than anything, a safe conclusion.
Absolutely, and that was a DPS trooper, by the way, that went in for the tackle there to bring that man down to the ground and ultimately into handcuffs. I believe we have Joe Harn on the line right now. He is a former spokesperson for the Garland Police Department, a former officer. Joe, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for joining us, for calling in. What we're watching here looks like a textbook conclusion and a safe conclusion to this sort of tense afternoon here.
Good. It's good to hear that the guys did it well. I'm just getting in on it. I know nothing about the chase, but everything I heard sounds like it was going by the book, which is great. One of the main things in a chase, though, is when it begins is the public safety. And that's the main cause that they'll make sure people around this chase it's safe. And then what the person has done. And more than likely, the police know more than what the news media knows right now about what this guy was running for.
Joe, wanted to ask you, you talked about, number one thing, and we know this, is always safety, especially for everybody involved, the officers themselves, too. Talk a little bit about sort of the training that goes on for situations like this with police officers, because I'll tell you what, they have to be extremely patient.
Very much so. But when they're in the academy, there is a lot that goes into their driving. They actually go out to airstrips where they've got long runways and everything and can do all kinds of scenarios in chases, knowing how their cars are going to react, what to do. And there's a pit maneuver. They learn the pit maneuver. But again, as a chase gets started, it's constant about safety. Not only is the supervisor, the officer supervisor, listening to the chase, and he's got the right and the authority to terminate a chase at any time, along with the police officer can also call a chase off, depending on if it's getting too dangerous for the public.
Yeah, and in this case, it looks like everyone did what they had to do. It looks like this is coming to a peaceful resolution. Joe, thank you so much for joining us, for offering some insight here. Of course, we will know a lot more about what all led that driver to run away from police in Garland, take several police agencies on a high-speed chase, freeways, some neighborhood streets, all the way up into McKinney. But again, this has now come to a resolution as we continue to watch some of these live pictures from Chopper 11. Folks, our newsroom is working right now to get you some more information. We're going to have a lot more for you in our later newscasts here on CBS 11 News. Another